right, guys. Well, I knew in order to do the lifts down there for the garage pad, I was going to need some type of device to actually compact the dirt. So I was able to score this roller. It's a Rex SP 400. It's got a John Deere 3-cylinder diesel engine, approximately 4 feet wide, around 7,600 pounds. And when you turn on the dual vibrator, it gives you a compacting force of 10,000 pounds according to the specs. So it should work pretty good for what I'm going to use it for. The nice thing is it's good size to fit on the trailer. I just drove 2 hours each way to get this machine, this is definitely going to allow me to get a jump start on the garage pad. So I'm excited. When there's more light out, I'll give you guys a better rundown of it, but there it is. Review of the roller. At the moment, not very impressed with it. I think it'll do what I need it to do. I just can't have bumps to go over, so definitely gonna have to work on my grading skills with the 1964 dozer. But it almost acts to me like it doesn't have enough hydraulic oil. And the guy did tell me that he had just recently changed the line on it because one blew. So I wonder if it needs hydraulic oil and that's why it doesn't have enough to go forward and backward. Other thought would be like a pressure relief valve's bad. So I'm gonna have to look into that. But let me see if I can figure out how to check the amount of oil in it. Yeah, it's definitely down by the add line. So maybe we should add some hydraulic oil. All right, well, I guess it was a good idea to check the hydraulic oil. So far, I've put about 1 funnel less than 5 gallons of hydraulic oil in it, and it's still not to the full line, so it was definitely low on hydraulic oil. So I'll finish off this bucket in here, and then we'll try it again. I probably won't get all the way to the full mark, but it'll definitely be a lot better than what it was. I can always top it off if I get another jug. But I'd like to just seal off a little bit more of this ground here, and then it's gonna get dark here soon, so maybe I'll hop in the excavator since I have the lights and start making my cut and just turn around and dumping the dirt as far as I can from myself. So then tomorrow I can use the dozer and start pushing it out and doing my lifts. But let's finish topping off this oil and then get going. gotta say that I got stuck there because that dirt is not of the best compacting quality. So that might have been like a windrow of topsoil that got missed and it kind of sank in there. So for now, I'm gonna park it there. All right, so in effort to try to get this to roll forward and backwards a lot easier, or better, faster, whatever, I'm gonna try to change the hydraulic filter. Luckily, parts store had one in stock, brand new O-ring. So we're gonna see if this helps at all. It is really on there. All right, guys. Well, the roller's really not working. I was able to get a handful of passes, which I'll be honest with you, the passes that it did, it really didn't do bad. However, these 4 or 5 passes that I did took me like 45 minutes to accomplish because it has very, very little power trying to move forward and backward. I tried to combat that with changing the filter. You know, I added 8 gallons of hydraulic oil because it was that low. And when I first fired it up, it did seem to make a difference, but it seems like as soon as the machine is warmed up, it like really loses all of its power. So I don't know if the hydraulic oil is just, once it warms up, it's not the right viscosity. I have to run something thicker in it. So it's kind of a bummer because I was really trying to get this all sealed up today because in like an hour we're supposed to get rain. Anyway, I guess I'm gonna have to drag this roller up closer to the shipping container so I can try to work on it. It's a shame I bought it because I thought, you know, I was gonna save time by doing that and being able to do things at my own pace, but it almost seems like now it probably would have just been worth renting one. So Oh well, we'll see if we can fix it. What a lemon. Alright, so when we first started this machine up, obviously it was pretty cold. The suction was at 20 inches of mercury, which is kind of higher than what I expected it to be. But the machine's been running for, I don't know, 5-6 minutes now. And unfortunately, we see the suction has dropped to like 7 inches of mercury. Now this is just at idle, so I'm going to throttle it up and we'll take a look at the suction force again. It seems like once we idle it up, we're at 15 inches of mercury, which is kind of what I was expecting to see. So it does seem like it's got good suction force. I'm going to try to move it forward and backward here a little bit, and we'll see if that pressure changes at all. So after moving it, turn on the vibrations, the suction force has dropped significantly. So now we're down to like 6 inches of mercury, which is I think an indicator that the pump is probably bad. Another good tell would be to get a pressure gauge hooked up in the system and see how much pressure the pump's putting out. Yeah, it's unfortunate. It seems like, you know, the last owner probably knew this was a problem. That's why he was selling it. Like I said, when I went and bought it, the machine acted fine because it was cold. But as soon as the oil starts heating up in that thing, it doesn't even want to go over an anthill. So I have someone tomorrow coming to look at it. They have a little bit better testing equipment, and hopefully from there we can determine if, you know, if it is the pump or if it's something silly like a pressure relief valve or something. But stay tuned for that. So anyway, well, at least we got a new gauge on there, right? All right, guys, we're back today with the Rex SP400 vibratory roller. As you can see, I got the hood open, I got some rags, I got some side panel off. So yesterday, did not videotape this. It was very long, boring, and tiring. I hand pumped the hydraulic oil out. Now, I estimated that there was only about 15 gallons in there. I was way off. There was 30 gallons of hydraulic oil that I hand pumped, and it took about 4 hours. Because as the oil got colder, it got harder to pump, and I was just using a little Harbor Freight hand pump that was $5, and I know why it was $5. So regardless, we're back today. When I pumped out the tank, I looked down in there, lots of metal flakes, very bad. The screen, however, was not clogged, so that was what I was hoping. I was hoping that the screen would be clogged, and that would tell us why our vacuum pressure was so low. But since that's not clogged and there's metal shavings in the bottom of the tank, that leads us to believe that the hydraulic pump is bad. So a little worried, a little backstory. I kind of was terrified to try to find this pump because One, I didn't know how hard it was going to be able to find, because obviously, you know, wrecks is a thing of the past. But two, I didn't know how expensive it was going to be, considering, you know, I just bought this. I was told this roller was ready to work, and it's obviously not. So I was able to call a handful of places, and believe it or not, the manufacturer of this pump is, I know it's hard to see, but it's a, what the heck is it? A Sund Strand hydro transmission. And apparently that company's still going and doing well. So this pump is actually going to be a lot easier to repair than I thought it was going to be. I thought that maybe, hey, I'll rebuild it myself, but I'll be the first to admit I've never done anything like that. Not that I don't think I'm capable of doing it, but a hydraulic shop can do it in a couple days, and it'll be done right, and it'll be tested before it leaves its shop, versus me just saying, oh, yep, I think that's right, and putting it back together and finding out it's wrong. Also, a big thing comes with a warranty. So I found a local shop about 45 minutes away. They said that they could have this thing rebuilt in a week and a half at the most, probably in a couple days. By rebuilding it, it's actually cheaper than going with the remanufactured one. So today's task is to get this pump off, and once we get that off, I can take it over, drop it off, and have them start looking at it. So I'm gonna get set up. I did on lunch break get a bunch of various size plugs, so this way we can cap off the lines and plug the ports that go into the pump. Not that it really matters going into the pump, because the pump's going to get taken apart, but I just figured to keep any extra contaminants out, so this way when they do pull it apart, they can get a better idea of what exactly failed in there, without having added dirt and stuff in the system. So all right, let's get this set up, let's get it pulled off. All right, as you can see, we've got all of our lines capped off. We got this linkage over here, which is supposed to tell the pump left and right, or forward and backward. We've got that disconnected from all these linkages. There's one remaining bolt right here that holds that pump in. I do not know how heavy it is. I know it's gonna be heavy, but I hope it doesn't just, you know, drop out of there once I get the bolt removed. So if it does, at least you guys will be the first ones to witness it. All right, the pump is off. Guess I should have thought about where I was going to set it once I got it off. All right, so the hydraulic company said that they don't want it with any of these extra fittings or anything on it. Like I said, I'm going to leave these plugs on until I get there, but this piece here, which tells the pump to go forward or go backward, needs to be removed, because that's one less thing. Now, I had noticed this roll pin in here is actually broken, and this has had a lot of slop. Like, look at it, it's in pieces, and I could pull that out with my fingers, which is not good. The other piece seems to be stuck in there, so we're gonna have to hammer that out and see how worn out that hole is. We're back today. Unfortunately, got the news from the hydraulic shop. The hydraulic pump is absolutely destroyed. They have to get a new one. So they have directed me that I need to get rid of all of the oil that was in this, all the oil that I drained out, and I need to flush the line somehow. You saw I just unloaded a 55-gallon drum of oil. This tank itself holds 30 gallons of oil, not to mention all the oil in all the lines and the various compartments that oil can flow in the system. So I'm estimating it's going to be about 35 to 40 gallons. It ended up being cheaper just to buy 55 gallons. I'm sure I'll use it again somewhere else. But I just jacked this up to the side. There's a baffle inside the hydraulic tank, and I'm trying to get as much oil as I can out and down to the lowest corner. There is a drain port. The reason I hand pumped it out and didn't use the drain port was because I knew I wasn't going to be able to contain 30 gallons of oil. But at this point, was probably only like 2 or 3 gallons of oil left in there. So I want it to go all the way down to the drain port, and I'll use that as the method of getting the remaining oil out. I'm gonna try to get like a window squeegee in there and squeegee the tank so it ends up going all to the drain port, because there was chunks of metal in there. And we'll have to change the filters again, and yeah, a lot of work before we can get this thing up where we need it to go again. So at least we can start letting the oil drain that way. And I'm gonna flush out the tank with a lot of brake clean, and I gotta figure out how I'm gonna drain all these lines, so stay tuned. So when I was pumping this out the other day, I took off the screen that was on the inside of the tank, and I had to use a pair of channel locks. Well, I got distracted by how late it was and how cold it was, and I completely forgot to take the channel locks out of the tank. So they've just been in a nice oil bath for the last 4 days. So I don't think I'll ever have to worry about them rusting. Or being able to ever grab a hold of them without them slipping out of my hands again. Alright, to give everybody a better view of what we're working with here, that far corner over there, that's the drain hole. And this first half where it looks lighter in color is where I've sprayed brake clean. This second half is where I haven't blasted it with brake clean. You can also notice there's a buildup of metallic flakes. Kind of looks like glitter. That's all metal shrapnel from when the pump failed. So I'm going to keep spraying this out, keep washing it out. I'll wipe it down with rags, make sure it's as clean as I can get it in here, and then probably just coat it a little bit with oil so it doesn't rust in here while I wait for the pump to come back. Alright, so I was able to reach down in the tank with a rag now that I got most of it out, and I just want to show you guys, this is the shrapnel that we're working with here. I don't know how well you can see it, but you can see how all the shiny flakes are through there. These are rather large pieces. You would think the filter would have stopped them. And maybe it did. Maybe the screen itself stopped it from getting out of the tank once it made it there, but unfortunately I had to go through the whole system to get to the tank. So I'm gonna keep cleaning and make sure we get all this metal out. All right, we're back tonight. We're working on the roller here. I was able to pick up the brand new refurbished hydraulic pump that we need. I was instructed I need to do my very, very, very best to get any debris out of the inlet hose. They obviously recommended getting everything out of the system. I have drained, cleaned the tank, but it'd be really, really difficult to try to clean out every single hose, disassemble this entire machine to get to every hose. So I'm really going to focus on cleaning the inlet side. We're going to drain out these hoses on the inlet side. We're going to flush brake cleaner through back to the actual tank, and then I'm gonna change the filter here again, just because we want to make sure that's brand new. Try to clean out this oil filter adapter, spray brake clean in through the inlet tube back into the tank, maybe even spray it some down in through the inlet hoses here. Let all that run out and do our very best. Once we get the pump on, we're going to rotate it by hand a little bit just to make sure that it has some oil in there before the engine actually cranks it over, because we don't want any damage to this pump. I just paid basically $12 $2,700 to get a remanufactured pump. I have another $800 into new oil, so I paid $3,500 for this, and I now have $3,500 into parts to fix it. So I really hope that this is the only problem with this thing, because it's adding up quick. So let's get draining this oil and get putting it together. All right, so brand new pump. I just set it in there. I'm just loosely putting these hoses on. Once I get the hoses on, I need to put oil in this inlet hose and let it flow into the pump. Once it's into the pump, I'm gonna pull the pump back and rotate the pump by hand to make sure that the oil is flowing through the pump. And then we'll put it back on, bolt it on, bolt the auxiliary pump to the back side of it, tighten everything up, and at that point, we'll start putting some oil in the tank. So let's get this one off. All right, we got all the oil hand pumped in there, a little bit over the full line, but by the time it sucks the rest into the filter, and pushes some of the air out of the lines, I think we'll be fine. So, moment of truth. We're gonna keep an eye on here, make sure nothing leaks. We're gonna turn it on, let it warm up. Just let it sit at idle before we attempt to do anything with it.